Welcome. Our next presentation by Mike Palmer and Ravi as a collaboration is titled Finding Your Inner Light. The original speech, along with some ideas for slides, was generated for Mike by Napkin. Mike is an Oracle database administrator for the state of Minnesota. He's a founding member of Technically Speaking in St. Paul. He loves making music as if I wouldn't tell that from the hurt, and inspiring others to play. Ravi is Information Systems Manager for the state of Minnesota. He's a founding member of Wordmasters and Technically Speaking Toastmasters. He loves trying new hobbies. It's legal. Ravi sees potential in every individual. And Systems Manager, is that the new position too? Yeah, new position in the last week or so. Yeah. Both our presenters look forward to an interactive session with you. Start by asking a few questions. Do you want to lead with confidence when standing in chaos and uncertainty? Wow, does that resonate? Do you wonder how you could be more effective in your role? In this talk, Mike and Ravi will share some skills, tools, and considerations that can be used to overcome our fears. They hope in turn that you will discover the lion inside of you. Please welcome Mike and Ravi to this presentation titled Finding Your Inner Light. Please welcome Mike.
Thank you, convener and fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. I am privileged and honored to be here with you guys to share about finding your inner light. Ravi, it's been, as noted, our club coach and a personal mentor for me through Toastmasters, and I have thoroughly appreciated what he's done to help me be in this position today, speaking for you guys. So I'm going to talk about finding your inner light, and you might be interested in what kind of inspired this topic for me. I am a songwriter. I guess I'm into music, and the song that I wrote was back in 2017 was titled "I'm Not Alone," and some of the sing some of the lyrics. I'm not a lion standing against the wind. I'm not a lion. Fears. You like a running. You like a hiding away. I'm not a giant with a mighty hand. I'm not a giant. Fearless. You like a nothing, like a disappointment. Whoa. Like, we'll do the chorus and the bridge later. But that song kind of talks about my self-evaluation process, which is going to be part of our topic, one of our topics today. There is a lot of the sections here are goal setting, resilience, confidence, and courage. Robbie's going to do 3 of them. I'm doing 2. I'm super pumped that he is my collaboration partner because he has been instrumental in bringing me here today. So part of my story really is that as I noted, I didn't feel like a lion. We all kind of maybe feel small in some ways. Growing up, I had some learning disabilities. I had dyslexia, ADHD, and it caused me to probably make some stupid decisions. I was misunderstood a lot by my own father. Like there's things that you have to work through. Before I became a Toastmaster, I wrote a song, like I said, in 2017. Getting up in front of people was not on my list. So, but here I. So the as the we're going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to Ravi. He is going to come up and I want to say he's a wonderful mentor and I just appreciate it. Ravi, take it away. Toastmasters and honored guests. One of the reasons why I chose to partner with Mike to co-present this is just personal experience and something that we share with each other. Aaron Asmunsen did a nice job of making many of you speak today. And Mike and I are also going to share some of our experience. What I'm going to present in my sections is nothing new. But if you put everything together, it does mean a lot. So my goal today is basically share with you things that have worked for me. We did this presentation. We tried to come up with this presentation by going through a book called Finding Your Inner Life. And the author clearly said that this book is not meant for you if you are already good in public speaking. But if you want to really overcome that hesitation. So Mike and I took that presentation, fed it through AI, artificial intelligence. That's what Napkin AI is. And it came up with few interesting tidbits, half of which we threw away. And the other half is what you have here. So a couple of questions that comes to my mind is what kind of questions do you ask when you are, let's say, knocked down? You are going through chaos, or you just want to get out of a tongue. To me, a couple of questions that I have asked myself, and this happened about 15 years ago. Many of you in this room are in information technology, or if you are not, in some sort of a job where you find yourself struggling, nothing is moving forward, or things were going fine, and all of a sudden, within a second, things change. And I was in that situation. I was working hard. I met all my goals. And some of you who know databases, which is like the furthest corner of an IT building, they talk to nobody. And I wanted to be recognized. I wanted to somebody to say, "Yeah, you have done such a good job. You are promoted to the next level." Even after 10 years of working, nothing happened. So that's when I asked myself, and I did some things, some of which worked, some of it did not work. So what I'm here to tell you is not about what did not work, but I hope you don't have to spend 10 years trying to figure out what will work. So I started asking myself, what exactly, or this is a self-reflection, what is my core values? What exactly makes me move? What is really internal to me? Are there fears that is holding you back? Some of you have shared that it is the fear of public speaking. To me, it was fear of failure. I never wanted to take anything where there was even a slightest chance of failure. And finally, where do I feel that I'm really good at? Some of you have already found that mojo in Toastmasters. Some of you in other leadership positions. That's what I found that this is something I can do through public speaking, through leadership. And that defined my leadership style. Some of you are connected to me on Facebook. I listen, or actually not Facebook, but LinkedIn. When I announced my resignation from my current job that I'm moving to the new one, it was about how my staff saw me. And it was more about leadership, not about a supervisor. So that is what I felt so good about. That how about I share this with you as to what defines me? So here is the quadrant from Napkin Artificial Intelligence. It may be hard for you to see from the back, but let me read this to you. Identifying areas of confidence, acknowledging personal values, recognizing fears. So you have weaknesses, strengths, low confidence, high confidence. I lost my confidence in AI because it didn't fill up the fourth quadrant. So if you ever have doubts about artificial intelligence, please remember this chat. But one tool that I would like to recommend is emotional intelligence. This is a book you get for about $15 from Amazon.com. You take assessment, and it defines what kind of score or what you need to do to overcome the fears.
And I really found this very helpful, especially in terms of building relationship. Because this is the quadrant, what I see, what I do, your personal as well as social confidence. The idea here is not to ignore what you feel, but to make use of your feelings and make them work for you. So what if people don't like you? Well, you work on finding ways and there is a common ground between you and your other people. I'm not going to go into details because, to be honest, we have found this at so many websites and you have your own personal tools. But I want, if you want to remember something, and this is what I would like you to do, is just remember emotional intelligence. It's a book, it is a nice tool to help you understand your feelings towards yourself and how you work with other people. The second one is Johari window. Remember, I said first and second, I did not win. So yeah, if you are in Copilot or ChatGPT, remember you are better than both those tools. Johari window is all about trying to find out what this is how I take it. You have talents, you have skills which you may not see, but others will see. So Toastmasters is really famous for mentoring. And Colleen Murray, during her year as district director, she emphasized on each person having a mentor. And at club level, each one of you either are a mentor or you are mentoring someone or you are being mentored. So think of this unknown area which is not known to others, or if it is a blind spot, that is area you want to find out. And that to me helped me with my process of self-reflection. So a couple of things I would say as far as self-reflection is concerned, make sure you acknowledge your emotions, whether it is sad, anger, feeling great, or whatever it is. Mentoring will help you with your seeking feedback. And by the way, seeking feedback is not just about you getting feedback, it's also when you give feedback. And finally, every reflection has to have an action plan. So, what are you going to do about your action plan? And that is what I would recommend. My personal story about my leadership journey is this. I was a worker bee and then I became a manager. Somehow I became a supervisor. And the first challenge I had was think of it this way. You are the security person of this entire building, and everybody wants to have the master key. And your responsibility is to keep the building secure. That was my responsibility as a database supervisor. Imagine all your tax records, all your personal health records, or everything goes into a database. And there are people who are so used to just going to the back door, doing their work. Nothing wrong with the work they do, but then it crosses the ethical lines. So I said no to a very long-term employee, and that person raised a hell for me. One day I found myself on one side and the entire senior management on the other side. Wow. That was very hard for me as a new supervisor. How the heck am I going to overcome this? And that's what led me to my self-reflection. And what I did was I met with this individual. I apologized for any inconvenience that was caused. And we started our whole process from scratch. I said, these are the 40 systems. Please tell me which systems do you need access to? If it is simply a read access, if it is an update access, or you need an administrator access. It took me 6 months and I involved other senior management. It didn't quite solve the problem, but I learned something about myself. That I do have a heart that gets broken. And no matter how tough the situation is, you'll always find a way. And that is why self-reflection taught me. The next section is about goal setting. You have probably read thousands of books about goal setting. All of them have these things in common. That the goals have to be specific. You want to make sure they are realistic. Not all of us can go to the moon unless you are part of that 1% that goes to Elon Musk and have access to the Starlink. But the rest of us will come to nice little have goals which can be realistic. and challenge yourself. It's also not that, oh, I want to get a cup of coffee. Of course, you can get a cup of coffee, but what about challenging yourself? And finally, a good plan will always, or a good goal will always help you make the plans by breaking down into steps. So these are my few thoughts on focus on self awareness. And again, it goes back to self reflection, to emotional intelligence, that you want to know how you feel. You want to know how you are going to work with other folks. In the end, the Toastmasters has taught me that you can develop that confidence, whether it is your icebreaker speech, whether you are giving a feedback, but every step you take, you develop that sense of self confidence. I have learned, I have failed, I have learned, and failed. They all go in cycles. So why always embrace success? How about embracing failure as well? Now, one thing I have to say is that in a way I feel lucky because in the last 15 years, I've had 4 interviews, but I have applied about 25 times. But when I got called for an interview, I was selected. So from just being a developer to database administrator, that was one interview, I succeeded. From database administrator to a supervisor, I succeeded. From one agency supervisor to another agency supervisor, I succeeded. That doesn't mean I did not have any failures. And the latest one is 1 week ago when I became a manager, which is one step above supervisor. But here is the thing. I embrace my success the same way I embrace my failures. Last year, some of you saw me going to District 6 fail. Didn't even place in the top 3. But I was sure I was the best speaker. It's a failure. But I embrace it because I saw 3 other wonderful speakers with whom I had the privilege to share the stage with actually 5 other speakers. So that to me is a success. When it comes to resilience, we talked about this. You start with a positive mindset. Well, let me share one story, and I was sharing this with Linda and a few other folks at my table. Are there people who will always knock you down or who will appear to be difficult? Remember this employee that became difficult for me? In all these 4 interviews, there was one common question, and you'll get a variant of this. How do you deal with difficult situations? And when I look back, I say every time I see a difficult person, I tell myself, you are my next case study. The way I interact with you is going to become part of my answer to this question. How do you deal with difficult situations? Or the variant. What if an employee is a difficult or you are put into a difficult situation? See, the moment you identify a difficulty and you take steps, you start to work on a solution. It's not about getting knocked down. It's not about feeling bad for yourself. It's about finding a way to move forward. And it starts with a positive mindset. It starts with developing a support system. And to me, connecting with your mentor or a coach or a life coach or even a friend who can really take an unbiased side, that to me is that support system. Okay, not every time you will be world championship of public speaking. So embrace failure. Hey, I know about myself that more than the motivational side of me, I'm a humorous speaker. And here is how I have been telling my new company. I'm the happiest husband. And why? Because in the last 19 years, I have not won a single argument. It's really not about having arguments. It's more about being a listener. And once you listen, you will know a lot of things about the other person. And my wife does the same thing. So how do you build resilience? There are a number of ways, and this gives you just a glimpse. But mind you, you will have your own method of building resilience. And one of them is your personal energy. Do you feel that when you are tense, when you are angry, your personal energy tries to go down? So recognize that because that is when you are hitting your weak spot. So once you recognize that personal energy, you'll be able to take some actions. And sometimes you need to shift your lenses. Many of you have been in district leadership, and you probably came across a Toastmaster program called How to Manage Conflict. And one of them says that the moment conflict happens, within 24 hours, set up a meeting with the other person. And the question you want to do is ask is, so that was my side. I would love to know your side. To me, the shifting lenses means that you want to understand where the other side is coming from. Find that sense of purpose. Now, this is not really about conflict, but when you are trying to come back from a failure or setback, what is your purpose? To me, it was all about serving people. I never really looked into getting more money. It was always nice. Or getting a higher position. The moment you serve, it seems the purpose will open the door for you for opportunity. Like the previous slide, always seek support, whether it is a coach or a friend or anybody who can help you. He or she is an unbiased person. And let's face it, you'll not always have that glorious days where you feel really great about, oh, today I feel fabulous. And then for the next 30 days, you will say, oh, I've been fabulous for the past 29 days. It is those moments that you want to take care of yourself, whether it is going for a walk, going for a comedy show, or even listening to good music, which is what Mike will tell you for the next section. Mike, over to you. Operate buttons. Where is your harness? I am your white horse. Where is your vision? Where's your where is your sword, son? I am your commander. Where is your vision? I am your adventure. You know. So this 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 idea of being called uh, to out of your not knowing how to find your inner lion to finding your inner lion. There's a call to us, but we have to say yes to it, right? You can't just wait for somebody to tell you to do it, and even if they did, you wouldn't do it. So when I think of what we need to do is learn to say yes. Yes to stepping out into your comfort zone. Yes to facing fears head on. Yes to celebrating victories. There's so much. Okay, so this quote came from an AI, and I know it's not. But courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to act despite it. It's a good quote, but it was actually based on something FDR said. I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something more like fear is there's something greater than fear that you need to pay attention to. So, but anyway, I think that the courage is not really the goal of finding your lion. That's not something you just develop overnight. Courage is something that we know it's super helpful, but it's not the goal. And I would say, like, sometimes when you say yes, you get beat up for it. Sometimes when you step out and do something, you take some heat for it. So it has a cost to say yes to courage, yes to cultivating courage. So this slide or this graphic showing the 4 stages of development is super helpful. I mean, I don't know if you've all seen it before or not, but I think I was going through a music management program, and that's where I heard about it. So the idea of going from being unconsciously incompetent, not knowing what you don't know, is a good place to start, right? We have to recognize that, and then after you recognize that you're unconsciously incompetent, you move to the next step, which is conscious incompetence. So you
you know that you don't know, and then you get on a course to correct it. So Toastmasters has helped me with that. Then you move from there to conscious competence, where you understand what you need to do. You know what you don't. You know what you know. You know what you don't know. A little better, more anyway. So, but you're able to use what you know to be effective. And where I want to get is unconscious competence. We're able to perform without really thinking about it. It's more natural. So it's something that doesn't happen overnight, right? All this requires, but as you know, with Toastmasters, that you're at your own pace. And I have learned that I have to apply myself regularly. And taking the microphone sometimes is not always uh, the thing that really gets you going. But I mean, I I felt like sometimes I have to do that to get out of my comfort zone. And that's why we a lot of times don't get on this road, is because we like our comforts, right? So I like this picture of the father lion and the young lion. I think my if this little young lion knew that what his father knew how to roar like his dad knew how to uh, set things right the way he did, I feel like you don't really start out knowing how important it is to have somebody behind you, beside you, with you. We need somebody who is that to us, and if we learn that, our mentor can be that older lion that actually knows how to roar. And then you part of this is finding your voice. And I've learned through Toastmasters that you can find your voice in a safe place. You know that when you get to know a few people and you in a club, it really helps you, and you see that it's safe to exercise learning your voice, learning how to roar. Does anybody want to demonstrate a roar? I thought that might be kind of fun. Roar. Roar. Very, very good. Very good. So, benefit of leading with confidence. I think it's somewhat obvious that if you if you have ability to communicate, it elevates you to a higher position. In whether it's on the job or Toastmasters, really your ability to communicate is one of the most effective things that you can do as a leader, as a Toastmaster. And so that's kind of, but it actually helps in a lot of other ways. That being able to communicate clearly. Um, I've been married for 43 years. Got married right out of high school, and that just because we grew up together, I was married at 18. Uh, you don't necessarily learn how to communicate very good, and I know that I messed it up a lot, but the communication was developed, and now we can talk, and she understands. I was at the Jacksonville Zoo just about a month ago, and down in Florida, and there was a lion exhibit, and there was a lion just roaring like you guys were, but just really, really carrying on. And I was curious to me. I'm like, I know I'm at this speech. I'm leader, or finding your inner lion. What is he doing? Why is he speak? What is he saying with that communication? I did a little research on it, and I'm not going to go into it, but basically it was communicating to all the other people, or all the other creatures in earshot, that hey, I'm here, I'm in charge, I am, I'm setting the stage here. Yeah, so but leading with confidence has so much, like you'll be able to lead by example and out of your heart. It won't be just using a bunch of tools. I mean, tools are great. Ravi illustrates how you can use some of those tools. And I haven't been in management, so I don't know his perspective. That's another reason why I thought it would be good to work with him on this. But like even with Toastmasters, that welcoming feedback and being assertive, all those things are helpful in your growth and development, finding your inner line. So, and I came up with this quote, and it's too long to read. But finding your inner voice, your inner lion is transformative journey. So this, and that is true. I'm not going to argue that. So, but this process, one of the points I thought of this whole talk was the point being, you need to submit to a process to develop who you are, so that you can be who you are. So, starting with that introspection that Ravi talked about and goal setting, we all understand that's part of it, but then developing that resilience and all that stuff takes time, right? It doesn't happen just because you wanted to, or just because you went to a conference and learned how to do it. So, but courage and confidence is something that I felt like happening because I submitted to the process of Toastmasters and growing in a club that was healthy and under a good coach. So, okay, I'm at the end of it sooner than I planned to be, but does anybody have any questions, comments?
Maybe a story if you want.
It's stories, yes.
You overcame a challenge that made your lion inside of you come up.
Uh, I started in Toastmasters. He was my mentor, and his wife, Catherine Cardenino, was also in the club. And they got me off my shell by presenting me with a leadership opportunity that I never really would have thought of on my own. But I said, okay, and stepped forward, and it's been amazing. And that way was life changing to go out into an organization, find out that I had connections with all sorts of other people just by virtue of, hey, being in the community, being in Toastmasters, and taking on a role, and then developing in ways that I really would not have considered a year or two earlier as the way I would develop. So it was a wonderful experience. I think we probably all had the experience of just saying, okay, I can do that, and toss your hat in the ring and find out that you could do things that you really didn't think you could have.
Just so I'm understanding with Gary, then you go to that. Sorry. You took this book and ran it through the AI, and then you use that to develop your presentation? It's a good question. Mike did that, so why don't you speak on this?
So I had the idea for the presentation, and I thought would be it's timing wise. Somebody brought up the AI and said that it generates slides for you. Oh, hey, I hate leaving slides. So I just plugged in some information, and it generated all the sections that we talked about. It didn't generate all the content, but I mean the sections were all there, and it had some quotes and things like that. But it really did generate useful, helpful stuff for me to take and run with. So then when I presented with Ravi, that was a whole nother experience working on this collaboration. We did it together. So we had to break it down. I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to talk about that. There's several meetings, and none of them got heated. He's a great guy. But just that using the AI tool was super helpful just to get a quick and dirty something I could use for the presentation.
Oh, so you took stuff from the book and put it in there.
I actually did not use the book.
What do you think?
Did not use the book. I just really put in the final AI and said, you generated,
Oh, okay.
you generated a slide deck for me with this content, and it looks like so. Everybody's playing with AI now, right? So I'd like to add to that, Mike, is that it's fascinating that you take a few ideas, you put it into AI, whether it is ChatGPT or Copilot. It will give its interpretation. Like if you do Google search, it will give you a lot of hits. Then you take some of the hits, you then develop your style. So we used AI, we came up with this version. We again had our own discussion. So it started with an idea, went to AI, went back to us.
How much do you find that the AI influenced your presentation versus your ideas influenced the AI?
So the idea came from my true AI. When it came to me, I was fascinated with that quad. So, wow, it's an empty quad. It's an empty quad. Definitely bring this in. So to answer your question, there are things that AI will, or the resources that you would look for, may disappoint you, and sometimes it gives you good answers. For example, it talked about the weakness and your strength. To me, that makes sense. But where is the complete picture? And that's where I put AI short.
Yeah,
Right.
I found that to be very good for raising of crowd's questions. So if there's a lot of information on something, it's pretty well structured and generally good advice. You can find it through AI. But if you're looking for originality, that's not the place to go.
Right. I was kind of surprised that it found what it did, but it was easy to fill in my part based on. And if you want to connect with us on the email, we'll be happy to send you these slides. I do have handouts too.
The beginning of your presentation, you introduced the lyric songs and started with the kind of I'm not a lion.
Yes.
What do you think about that today, or how would you alternatively change the lyrics for yourself today?
Love that.
Or do you still resonate with?
Well, if it helps people to identify with that starting point of not feeling like a lion, not feeling like a giant, maybe it's appropriate. I don't know, how do you get from there to riding a white horse, you know? So it's kind of I haven't thought about that, but I mean, it's a good question.
Did you feel more that you're at the beginning of those lyrics or at the end? Where you personally came back learning?
I think that it's a journey, it's a lifelong journey that the best leaders, best communicators are always learning and growing. The day you think that you've arrived, you got the biggest lesson to learn all. I know for me, I grew up in foster care from 3 until I was 18. I didn't have a voice growing up. I was told to know in certain terms that everyone else's opinion was more important than mine. So it was really a journey of, as an adult, of discovering and finding my voice. And I think as you have mentors and different ones in your life, then it's like you're always adjusting, you're always growing and learning so that you can become the best version of yourself. And so hopefully we never think that we are right because we don't, because there's always more to learn, there's always more to grow, and we can learn from one another and other people's journey and and how they can inspire us maybe by the good things that they do. It's like, oh yes, I want to emulate those qualities those qualities I see in Ravi. Or I see this other person, I'm like, ooh, that didn't go over so well. I want to make sure that I don't emulate those things. But we're always on that journey of discovering and learning and growing and becoming the best version of ourselves and allowing our voice to become even more clear and more beautiful.
So I would like to add to the way I see Mike's journey so far. He has grown quite a bit in terms of he's going more into the unknown or uncomfortable zone. Competes in District 106 contest, always up against contest mastery contestants, which are super duper good, but he never gives up. He's always competing, he's making his speeches better. So yes, there is. I see a lot of growth in life. Good question, Mark. I saw the empty quadrant and I thought I'll make something up. And I thought, why should I make something up? Let people see what AI can do. And second thing is, it's a PDF. It's very hard to take the PDF and read it. Instead of really coming up with something, trying to forgive AI, how about let you decide what AI can do or what cannot do.
But you can't make it look too good.
And you could transfer the PDF to a Word document.
Oh yes.
PowerPoint. It would be-
Yeah.
Well, and you were stretched because there was a blank that wasn't filled.
Yeah. Initially, when Mike and I thought about it, I said, we'll put it this way. You decide what goes into the fourth quadrant. Then we changed our story. I said, to help with all this, you decide whether it is good or not. And in life, you get lots of advices, lots of, like, we are giving you tools, but not every tool is going to work for you all the time. You get to decide. So we wanted that slide to be genuine about AI. Sometimes it will happen, sometimes it will not. Any other stories that comes to your mind? Go for it.
Our club needed a second, was black being a second speaker. And this was the day before the meeting. And I'm a good one of coming up with something. They're always like, oh, that's. So I said, yes, I'll do it. And then it came down to that evening before, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never done this. What am I going to do? I went into Copilot. It made my speech. And all I did was add my personal reflection on each point that they gave. Yeah. My evaluator couldn't even come up with something that I could have done. So
Yeah. I know someone else who's been using AI pretty heavily for the speeches, and it has helped a lot. But yes, personalizing is important. Do you remember the canned speeches for all sorts of educational stuff? Right? They say, here's your outline for your speech, and you personalize it. This is a broader.
I'd like to share an experience. I prepared a speech well before AI really became popular. And this speech was about picking on my coworkers, especially those who eat donuts. And what happened was the club audience loved the donut portion and they did not care about the rest of the speech.
It was great.
And then
No donuts.
I came up with a speech called I Love Donut. And that took me to the district stage and I enjoyed it. So here is an idea that I came up with. I'll do my one pack on donuts. Just donuts. So when you are looking for a speech topic or you are looking to challenge yourself, go for something like this because you will have fun, your audience will have fun, and that's the best way to get rid of stress in our life.
I want to hear that speech about your management style on with donuts.
Yeah, that is fun. Yes, I am working on that, but we are almost to the time. So I would like to invite Karen back for an announcement. Karen?
Thank you to Ravi, Peter Mike for this wonderful presentation. Everyone, please fill out forms to give feedback or just plain approach them in person. Give feedback, support feedback is what we're doing for Toastmasters.
I thank my friend Preston who has come along and did video for me.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. Everyone have a wonderful afternoon. And another round of applause for Ravi and Mike. So, Mike, your email address, you bet, Mike. I was like, how will you have that email address? It's your attitude. Like, you want to, yeah, betcha.
Listen, it's so.
Yeah, you betcha.
That's
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, then I'll
Can you do this? Yeah. I wanted to hear you.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, we don't know.
I'm a band called Micah the Bias. We perform about twice a month.
Okay, good. By the time I go.
We have two high schools. Thank you. Have an important.
Morning.
There we go. Probably left out. Yeah, I should. No, let's not call it. Yeah.
But
The 130 is pretty timely. Right, so then I'm gonna
like
Yeah, it does.
but I wouldn't figure that the brush.
Well, one thing I didn't share is that you really don't want to put something you, as long as it's for person's information, you don't care if it's 400 tries. So, but I'm really talking about sharing my complicated yeah, but training your system. I just thank you. Oh yeah. So after I did that, I actually I put in the title of a song that I wanted to write. The title of the song I wanted to put in and a little information like how it and it generated a really good start. I was able to take the words, put my own words in places, and I was blown away with how household actions did. Some game hard. I'm still working on that. But I said, and I realized hacked all that and started coming to it. But I know there is ads as well. Okay, what's so I haven't used any of them yet.
You want to do it instead of Michael Jackson?
Yes, exactly. That's what you can do.
That was Mike Palmer.
Yes, my phone. You have a license.
That was Mike Palmer. You're fun.
I did some wonderful. Put it down there. And then you want me to go put it in the awesome. So obviously, what should be better?
They're starting to. Let's take those. Anyway, let's figure out whether I needed to turn the next time to like
They said they wanted to. I just the best one actually. One in the back.
I'm gonna ban my next five.
Okay, so I will go twice.
I think Seymour is not
Yeah, that's
I have
yeah. So going on the photo contest. Okay, these are all blank.
it's my is
last night.
it's not
That's the town right down because it's so I was 2 minutes.
awesome.